Good morning, everybody. It is way too early right now. We are going to a couple of archaeological sites, a couple of museums. I didn't hear what Socrates said at all. So we're going to do that today, and we're going to end up in the town of Nafplio, which is where the amazing gelato is. So I am excited to go do that. So we'll see how the day goes. He's so cute. Even Barnes agrees.
He's so soft. Do you want to go to America? Go on my back for a little bit?
It would be not. Oh my goodness.
My brother does to his dog. He's like 30 pounds, and she just doesn't care. Like, you can do anything to that dog.
I have a twin today.
Called Kore, which means the daughter. So Persephone / Kore. Mother and daughter, Demeter and Persephone are very close. Demeter is a goddess of fertility, especially of grain crops, right? Of the crops that feed humankind. Hades, Zeus's brother, becomes attracted to Persephone. Right? He sees her walking about every day, often with her mother, picking flowers, laughing. And so Hades, filled with desire for Persephone, but not knowing how to go about, wooing her, courting her, whatever, goes to Zeus and asks for advice. Like, what do I do? How do I make Persephone, how do I endear myself to Persephone? And Zeus says, endear schmendeer. Look, here's what you do. When Persephone is away from her mother, when she's away from Demeter by herself, picking flowers in a field, you just go get her, grab her, and just take her down to the underworld. Problem solved. Zeus prefers the direct approach. And so Hades, assuming that Zeus, believing full well that Zeus knows what he's talking about when it comes to the lady, waits for the right moment, and then when Persephone is alone, out of sight and out of hearing of her mother, roars up out of a fissure in the earth in his great chariot, driven by these black steeds, abducts Persephone, grabs her, pulls her into his chariot, and then zips back down into the earth. And there, he makes her his bride, queen of the underworld. So now Hades has a queen. Demeter, meanwhile, is distraught. She hasn't heard anything. She has no idea where her daughter has gone. She removes herself from Mount Olympus and the other gods, wanders for 9 days, until finally she comes to this place, Eleusis. And out on the outskirts of the town, she finds the daughters of the king and queen. The king and queen's names are Eleusis and Demeter. And the daughters, seeing Demeter, who is disguised by now as an old woman. She's wandering the earth disguised as an old woman. Yeah, please. Oh, yeah. Yes, disguised as an old woman. Giving as her name Deo, which is a kind of pun on divinity or goddess. And they take pity on her. They ask her, where did you come from? What are you doing? She says she was abducted by pirates, and now she got away, but now she has no home. And they, knowing that their parents, the king and queen, have just had a son, and are in need of another nurse, another caretaker for the boy, go to the palace, explain the situation to the king and queen. Eleusis and Demeter say, by all means, bring this poor old woman to the palace. We could use her help with our son. And so Deo, old Deo, Demeter in disguise, goes into the palace, starts taking care of her son, and with no hope of ever seeing, she thinks, her daughter Persephone again, she begins to take care of their son. And unbeknownst to their parents, she is intending to make him immortal as a kind of replacement for the daughter she has lost. So every night when the parents are asleep, she takes this boy, whose name is Demeter, and she starts putting him into the fire at night as a way of burning the mortal part of him away and to make him immortal. She also starts feeding him nectar and ambrosia, the food of the gods. Right? This goes on for a while, and then one night, Metanira comes out, the mother, and sees this old woman, shoving her son into the fire. And of course she screams and yells. This upsets Deo, who, puts the boy on the ground and becomes indignant and outraged and says, and reveals her identity, right? Not her full appearance, but she does begin to grow. Her head almost touches the ceiling. Yes? There she is. And so she, reproaches the mother for interrupting this process and says she will not continue it. The boy will remain immortal. He could have become a god. And moreover, she starts to she's reached her breaking point. She makes demands of the people of Eleusis. For starters, you will build me a temple and a sanctuary here in this place. 2, because I have lost my daughter and now been prevented from making this boy immortal, she will no longer allow crops to grow. So within a short time, a great famine occurs. And this, of course, jeopardizes humanity, which jeopardizes the offerings that humans make to the gods. So the gods are in peril here too. So Zeus, one by one, recognizing the danger, starts sending embassies, other immortals, to Demeter to try to reason with her, try to come to terms with her. No one succeeds. So finally Zeus sends Hermes down to Hades to say, look, you need to reach some sort of compromise, some sort of solution. Otherwise, all the humans are going to die, and who's going to respect us? Right? Where will our offerings come from? So Hades agrees to let Persephone return to Earth for a certain part of the year, but before he lets her go for the first time, he offers her a pomegranate. And Persephone tastes the pomegranate, eats some of the pomegranate, and this sort of binds her. The eating of the pomegranate down in the underworld binds her to her status as queen of the underworld for part of the year. So Hermes then leads Persephone out of the underworld. She's reunited with her mother. Her mother brings the famine to an end, and everyone is happy. So Persephone now spends part of the year above ground with her mother, and another part of the year down with Hades as queen of the underworld. In its essence, it's an allegory of nature and fertility. Right? Persephone is, you can imagine her as a kind of allegory for seeds of crops. She spends some of the year underground, unseen, but then when the season is right, she emerges, crops grow, etc.
We are at the Temple of Demeter in Eleusis, and it's really cool because you can actually walk in it and you get to touch everything. So this is what I really like, is you get to touch everything.
And the 6th century BC, so the wall here belonged probably to a small temple related to the cult of Artemis and Poseidon. And see this construction, which is also of the Roman period, characteristic bricks and mortar.
Whenever you see bricks, it's Roman.
Yeah, well, Roman and
Roman and later.
And also Persephone was placing him. Remember the torches are always important for your cult. And at the same time,
We are at the Corinth Canal. It is 3 miles wide and roughly like 350 feet deep. It is very deep.
Go to Corinth. All I remember is the monkeys.
Oh. Oh, no.
I'm so sorry, little.
And there's one back there, too. Oh. This is the old city of Corinth. Poseidon and Helios fought for that hill, and Poseidon lost, and Helios gave that hill to Aphrodite. So that temple right up there, that's where a whole bunch of prostitutes were, and men would pay to, sleep with the prostitutes, and that would be their offering to Aphrodite. It's 35 degrees Celsius out right now, so it's pretty hot. 40 degrees Celsius is like about 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And so we're literally moving from shade to shade.
The god Apollo, the goddess Fortuna, Neptunus, and to other. This way, but stay on this side of the street.
We make friends very easily.
Best preserved public buildings of the second Venetian period in the city. But you can also see the architectural character of Nafplio in the rest of its history of the late 19th and early 20th century. Buildings of the neoclassical style, but also of historical modernism. See the building of the National
We are all enjoying gelato right now. Yeah, Aaron's is gone already. How is the ice cream, everybody?
Stop.
It was the bomb.
Stop yourself from
Like the inside of it. So the guy used that happy thing in the main floor all the time. To see myself happy and shit.
The family was Anastasios and Petros. Petros comes from